The story I wanted to talk here is about black women. Why black women are quick to submit to Caucasian men unconditionally. You see, black females are quick. They're quick to submit to Caucasian men unconditionally, but they put a hefty, crazy demands on black men. You know what I'm saying? Now, the issue is a lot of black men in America, when they're looking at the black American females, a lot of black American males, they don't know what they're dealing with when they're looking at the black American females. When you are dealing with the black American females, you are dealing with sort of like a genetically modified female. You're not dealing with a natural black woman like the ones you see in the Africa or elsewhere. You're dealing with sort of like a genetically modified female. You're not just dealing with a black woman. No, the word black is used quite randomly in the United States. That's one thing I noticed. Like the word black is used almost sort of like unequivocally. Sort of like it's something which is like, you can be black, sort of like something you can buy and throw. That's the situation I noticed in the United States. The majority of people have no idea what is the word black, or black people, what it means to be black, or who is black. They don't know nothing. Who's black? The definition comes from the continent. Now that's another story. Now the story I want to talk here about is how black American females have never ever. Black females in America talk a lot of nonsense and put hefty, ridiculous demands on black men, but in reality, black females have never ever loved black males. In fact, black American males, they have no idea what black women really are, or what are black American females' goals. What do they desire? What do they really want? Nothing is further from the truth. 99% of what black women are demanding to black men in America is over 100% lie. 99.999% of black American females, what they really want is a Caucasian man to fully submit publicly their love for them, and they are sort of like only when Caucasian men fully admit publicly to say, we love black females. This is what we love black females about A, B, and C. But here's the tricky part of it. The tricky part is that Caucasian men don't think that much of black females. You know what I mean? Because Caucasian men don't think much of a black female, black females don't know how Caucasian men think about them or feel about them. You know what I'm saying? On the other hand, all the demands which black females put on black men is a joke. Their real demands actually is for a Caucasian man to fully admit publicly or express publicly how they love black females, or come out open, or even through the media and say, this is how we love black women. But that is not coming from Caucasian men or Asian men or Chinese, whatever, those who are not black. They're not going to do that 100%. They only do that to their women only. They're not going to do that for a black female. And the anger is the reason why a lot of black females are more likely to be nasty and vicious and spill pretty much a lot of vulgar, and there's so much nasty towards black men. It's because of the reluctant of Caucasian men to admit, or reluctant of Caucasian men to say they like or love a black female. And because of that, black females feel angry, and their anger, they're more likely to put the frustration on black men, and black men don't know that. The only reason why you see black men in America get the worst of a black female is that a lot of black American males do not know the really deep reason why black women in America are angry. Black females in America are angry because they desire the full expression of love from Caucasian men. But Caucasian men don't think much of a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Because black females you see in America, they have got the historical proof. When Caucasian men went from Europe to Africa, they took hundreds and hundreds of millions of black females and shipped them in the Caribbean, America, and South America. Then began breeding with them by force, whether they like or not. They were breeding with the black females. Years ago, black females had to breed the slave masters and produce hundreds and hundreds of thousands of children. Now, fast forward that to today, a lot of black females are looking at that historically. They're looking at the history. Like if Caucasian men were good, were breeding with the black females back in the days, why are they not doing that now? Because back in the days, every slave female had to have a baby with the slave master. Majority of them, almost 99% of slave females, had children with slave masters. They were fully booked. 99% of them would spend almost 90% of their lives pregnant. They had to have several children. Almost 90% of black females' children were from Caucasian men. You know what I'm saying? 99% of black children were from Caucasian men. But the Caucasian men were very clever in dropping the so-called one drop rule. One blood drop. It's so-called one black blood rule. A rule which they say every person with a African black blood is going to be deemed black. And this was a skill of Caucasian slave masters, which they were going to use in order for black females to breed with them, thinking they're making black people, when in reality it was a tactic used by slave masters to produce as many slave babies with the black females. Because a lot of black males were refusing to have children with a black woman because they knew that their children are going to suffer and things of that nature. So slave masters obviously decided that they need to breed as many slave children with a black woman, and so they dropped the word one drop rule. One black blood drop rule. You are black. That is specifically slave masters and black females. So a lot of black females, a lot of black women you see today, see that historically, that they were fully booked breeding with slave master. Why is it not happening today? And that issue angers a lot of black females, but they're not going to discuss that with the black men. They're not going to do that frustration of, if they look at their history, every black person you see in America, in the Caribbean, and in South American countries like Brazil, Guatemala, Bolivia, Venezuela, all that, 90% of people are mixed. They all have got black blood in there. Why? Because a lot of black females were breeding with slave masters. A lot of black females were breeding with slave masters. The only person who was not allowed to be to sleep with black females were black males. Black males were completely not allowed to be with a Caucasian woman. They were not allowed. They would only be with a black female only if it's allowed. If they pay sort of like a fee, or only through the slave master's allowance. They needed to be allowed because at that time black people were owned as property. So only a black woman would date a black woman only through the slave master allowing them. Sort of like they needed a card of, they needed to be allowed. They needed permission to date a black woman. The only people who were breeding with black women were slave masters and their children. This is why 90% of people in the Caribbean, in Puerto Rico, all these people you see in all these countries are Malaros and Quadroons. Most of them come from native African slaves, but the slave masters would breed with a black woman, and then the Malaro or mixed children would then further breed with other slave masters, or selling these children to other. A Malaro was highly prized, but they were selling, Malaro children to other slave masters to breed further. So a lot of black people moved from black to mixed black as time went on, to what they call quadroons, which black people who were super close to Caucasian, because they were mixing Caucasian slave masters and their children with the black females. Then the children born were Malaros, or mixed hybrid people, and then those hybrid people were further sold into the Caucasian. And so now you've got a lot of or quadrants, what they call quadroons, I don't know, quadrants or quadroons, black people who were close to white, almost a white looking black. Black people who were 70% Caucasian, pretty much they were almost Caucasian. You know what I'm saying? Because they were, bred towards the people who were breeding with the black females were mostly Malawi. And if a lot of quadrants look at back, they don't look naturally as their native, great-great-grandmothers. Most of them have lost that African feature completely. They know they've got black ancestors, but it's now further back. You know what I'm saying? But then the true reality, what I was saying here, is that black females complain a lot to black men, but in reality, a lot of black females, their desire and their lust and thirst is only towards Caucasian men. It's only when Caucasian men are not hitting on black women in the way black females expect them to hit on. Because notice one thing you see in America, a lot of black females think black men are in competition to see who swell the most. 90% of black men are not in that. Black men only date Caucasian females if Caucasian females submit to them. Other than that, black men don't go on with Caucasian females. Because in order for a black man to be with a Caucasian female, there has always been a historical barrier from Caucasian men. Caucasian men always had their way with black females. There is no barrier for a Caucasian man with a black woman. You know what I'm saying? But barriers are only there for black males going with anybody who's not black. There is a huge barrier, physical barrier. There's always a barrier. There's never been no barrier. You know what I'm saying? For black males, every black man who dates outside his own race, there has always been barriers. The only person who there is no barrier has always been black females. There is no barrier of dating a black woman. Anyone can go, whether in Africa or in America, any Caucasian person can go after any black woman anywhere on earth and take as many as he can at any time. Barriers are only there for black males. Historically, barriers have always been put for black males. There has never ever been a barrier for Caucasian men with a black woman. There's never, historically, for the past 600 years. For the past 600 years, there's never been a barrier of dating a black woman for Caucasian men. Whether it's Caucasian, Asian, Arabs, there's never been a barrier. To the present day, there's still never been a barrier. Which is why a lot of black people who are born outside Africa, 99% of the children are not from black males. 99% are not from black males. You see, a lot of people who we classify as black, they're not necessarily black. They just come from a black females, but they're not necessarily black. 99% of them have got Caucasian fathers. In fact, a lot of black females you see in America, according to the statistics in 1987, they said almost 60% of black females, children, did not have a black father. That means that was 1968. Almost 60% of black females' children were not from black males. You know what I'm saying? It is even believed that 88% of black people you see in America in 1855 were not from black males. Only 5% of black people in the United States were from specifically a race of black males, black male grandfathers and black male fathers, and had a lineage of a straight black line. But 80% of black children born in the United States did not have black fathers. They were claimed black, but they were not fathered by black males. You see, most of the children of a black woman are not from a black man. It has been documented even in countries like Brazil that over 80% of children born from a black woman, they're deemed black through a black woman, but they're not black. Most of them have got a Spanish father, a Swedish father, Italian father. They're not from black, which means genuinely under African laws, they're not black people. They're classified as not black, or not black people. The only person who's classified as a black person is a person who's fathered by a black man, because through a black man, they can be traced back to the continent. But if they're not from a black man, then they cannot be from a black, there is nobody in Africa with a name called, Alexander or, Gregory, Gibson Matthews. These are Caucasian type names out of Africa. There is nobody in Africa with a European name. So through the lineage of fathers, almost 80% of children of a black woman were from Caucasian men. Historically, 80%. Only very few, most historians have agreed that almost 5% of black people are fathered by black men outside Africa. Only 5%. You know what I'm saying? A lot of children of a black female, they are not from black males. Are not born from black males. That's 5%. In countries like in the United States, only many people push it at 7% of black children are fathered by a black man. 7%. The rest are not from black males, which means in African laws that means they're not black. They're treated black. They're treated as black through the skin color, but they're not black. Same thing that if a black man like me father a child to a black woman, and a man come from Sweden also impregnates a black woman, none of those children cannot be classified as black, both of them. One is a black and the other is classified as a Negropean or black-like, or mostly because the father is Caucasian. A black man is not, a Caucasian man cannot be classified as a black man. So both of us cannot be, be seen as black, because if a black man like me and a Caucasian man, both of us impregnate, two black females. One, the child is going to be born black. Another one, the child is going to be biracial Negropean, not black, biracial Negropean. That necessarily means that's a child of a European descent, not necessarily African descent. Because if you classify that child, if you classify both of the children as black, that means the Caucasian man is now a black man. So the definition is wrong from the anyway, people traced it to why it was like that. It's because of America's one drop rule in which they wanted to classify Caucasian males as black males. In reality, only children born from black men are deemed black, because that can be traced to the continent. But if someone is traced that the father is Italian, the father is Greek, the father is Swedish, the father is from Ukraine, then the word black is completely removed. They can be classified as black, blackish or Negropean, another phrase which has been recently put that the child is to be a descendant of European, because most of their surname are going to cross towards the Mediterranean to Europe. If every Caucasian man was to take their children out of black women, a lot of Negroes would be sent to Europe. A lot of Negropeans from a black woman would be sent to Europe. If every man was to claim their children through the lineage of males, only 5% of black people would be taken by black men. The rest of the children of a black woman will be taken by Caucasian men to Europe. Think of a situation if slave masters were taking their children. Every pregnancy they do with a black woman taking their children. A lot of black people you see in Brazil, in the Caribbean, in Barbados, a lot of people, they will be shipped to Europe. Europe would be the largest black population, would be in Europe, not in Africa. The largest, if every Caucasian person was to take their children from a black woman, most of the time when Caucasian men impregnate a black woman, it ends there. Historically, they used to impregnate black women a lot, but they used to end, their relationship will end with the pregnancy. And they say, well, the child is black. Then they go to a Caucasian woman. They claim the child of a Caucasian woman as white. Then they leave the child of a black woman. They say, wait, the child is black. So if the things were reversed, that every man must claim their children, naturally every man must take their children back, Europe would have the largest black population, would be in Europe and not in Africa. According to historians, through what was happening to black females and Caucasian through historically, 90% of black people would be in Europe and not in Africa. 90% of black people would be in, if Caucasian men were claiming their children from a black woman. If Caucasian men were claiming their children from a black female, the largest population of black people would be in Europe. Historically, this has been completely revealed. In many African countries, they noticed that that was happening on a humongous scale. But they were pinning a lot of children born on a black woman, that they're black, they're black. Historically, over 600 years of rejecting their children and leaving them in Africa, including Arabs. Arabs were also coming into Africa, impregnating black women in hundreds and thousands. But they leave their children there. What is happening recently now in many African countries, over 65,000 black females are impregnated by Chinese men, over 65,000 annually. But guess what is happening? Chinese are rejecting their children and leaving them in the continent. They're not taking them to China. So if all these males, you've got Arabs, Chinese, Europeans, globally, if every of these males were taking their children, their father, to a black females, guess what? The lowest population of black people would be Africa. 99% of black population would be Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, that would be the largest population of black people. Africa will be having the lowest population. The number of Africans which would be less than 300 million. Some people will put it between 500 million and going back. The largest population of black people would be somewhere else in Europe, Asia, and somewhere in China. If every Caucasian person was taking their children, their father, with the black females for the past 600 years, the largest population of black people would be outside Africa. Would be in Europe, in Middle East, in Asia. Africa would have the lowest population of Africa. And Africa probably will be the richest, will be most richest country. It will be the richest continent by far. Because they will have the entire continent with very few people. Like it is even in most countries in Africa. A country like, look at a country like Botswana, I think it's got 3 million. The country the size of Texas, it's got roughly 3 million. You know what I mean? So taking the evidence, taking historical evidence, that will be the case. Now, like I was saying to the video, to what I was going to mention previously here, like I said, a lot of black females do not have any problem with Caucasian. I mean, they do not demand nothing from Caucasian men. They don't. The reason, like I said, they submit unconditionally to Caucasian and give a lot of headaches to a lot of men, a lot of brothers in America, is because a lot of black men in America did not check the history. A lot of sisters in America, a lot of black females in America are not used to black men's leadership. Not only leadership, for the past 600 years, black females have never ever seen a black man leading them in any sort of area. Not only, I wouldn't blame black men because the powers that might be were obviously in charge, but then the issue I was talking here is black females do not like black men leading them. They've never ever wanted black men to lead them. Majority of black females, I wouldn't say majority, I would say 99% of black females lie that they want black men to be in charge. No, that's a lie. Most of them are angry simply because the Caucasian man is not coming forward, you see, or white Caucasian men are not expressing their outright love for them, because black females know that historically they used to breed with Caucasian men, they used to take care of Caucasian men's children. Look, black females in America know one thing. Historically, they understand that the past they were fully booked sexually with Caucasian men, not with black men. Only 5% of black men had ever impregnated a black woman with children and families with black men. 99% of the black females' pregnancies were from Caucasian men. Historically, the only difference is that Caucasian men used to reject their children who were born from a black woman. Majority of them, so they were just impregnating a black woman and rejecting their children. And so the reality is here, like I say, a lot of black females who claim that black men this and this and that, majority of black women are not actually saying the truth to black men. Most, I can say 99% of black females you see in America, they want Caucasian men. But Caucasian men are not just going to come to them and just say, let us cover the vacuum left by black men. They need reason to do that. Like I said, a lot of black females in America, the reality is that if you look at a black women complain about black men. Black men don't do this, black men don't do this, black men don't do this. But if you study a black woman's biology, black women were, for the past 600 years ago, black women were trained, brutally trained, not to like who they are. Black females were trained not to accept who they are. Black women were trained. This is through history. This is in their history. The anti-black didn't start now. It began in Africa during slavery. A lot of black females knew that Caucasian men were against them simply because of their looks. But the Caucasian men used to love and thirsty for black females' pleasures sexual. This is why a lot of black women were raped during slavery. A lot of them. Even racism couldn't stop a black woman being raped by slave masters. Slave masters always preferred the black woman's sexuality. They always wanted that jungle love. They always wanted a black woman as a fetish, to please their jungle curiosity thing of that nature. So black females knew that historically they know that they were slave masters wanted them sexual, and that never left a black woman here. Even every black woman today knows that historically that's what the duties of a black woman was, to please their slave masters at all costs. If you look at the black female, black women have never ever liked black men, because there is no history in the United States of a black woman ever living with a black man or loving black men unconditionally. Black men, women, the only reason black women love is Caucasian men. Black women love and thirsty for Caucasian men. But however, they're not getting this. They're not going to get that unconditional love from Caucasian men, because Caucasian men don't think like that. They just don't think a black woman in that way. They know a black woman is black. Number two, she's an African, creature as far as they're concerned. So they are well aware, logically, because a lot of Caucasian men deal with the logic. They're not emotional people. They're logical. So they don't care how far you please them and things of that nature. As far as they're concerned, in their minds, you don't belong to me. You are an African creature and things of that nature. Because Caucasian men are logical people. They're not emotional people. They're logical. So they deal with logic. They don't have emotions and whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? Or because of that affects a black woman indirectly. Then a black female starts lashing out and spilling their hatred towards black men. Because in reality, the black females are angry at slave masters, not revealing their, because black females know that slave masters used to use them as fetishes and things like that. But why is this Caucasian men not fully admitting it publicly? Because Caucasian men do not think much of black females. They don't mind, they don't care whether they breed with you, they make babies with you. They can breed with you, have babies with you, choke you at the same time. So they're not dealing with the black females through their, through a needy. They're not looking at the black woman as they needy, because they know that, we live in a supremacy system in which, they've got a certain goal, which black females, on the other hand, are not aware of. You see, because the Caucasian men, they don't care whether they, breeding with you is not a big deal for them. They can breed with any female. They've been doing that historically on a global scale. Australia, they've been breeding with all kinds of female throughout history in countries in which they colonized. So they never developed any sense of valuing anybody, any females of any race except Caucasian. On a global scale, they know they can have all of these females at any time, because historically they've got the evidence of showing that. So as a result, they will never ever come and express that type of love and expression of love and acceptance of a black female. They'll never do that, because they know that globally they've got the world females, already, so they don't look at and that sadly anchors the black females, and then the black females will come and give that nasty type behavior towards innocent black men. And black men, on the same time, they don't know where the anger comes from. which is why a lot of black men in America, they say, well, black men in America, they don't see eye to eye with a black woman, this and that. A black man in America, they don't see eye to eye, or, you know, you can't be with a black woman, she's too nasty and things like that. Because a lot of black American brothers, they don't know where the anger comes from. The anger of a black woman is because the Caucasian men are not accepting. Even if you go to America today, you would see a black woman complaining that, oh, a black man is dating a Caucasian woman, so I'm just going to rush to this Caucasian man. Sort of like a black woman has no idea that, that's not the case. Caucasian men are not just going to leave Caucasian women just to fill the vacuum. You know, historical people don't just say, okay, let me, simply because, you know, if you've got a problem with your wife down in your family, a next door neighbor is not going to come and say, well, let me fill the vacuum because I see you've got a problem with your wife, let me marry your wife. It doesn't work like that. That's how a lot of black females have got suffer from, you know, post-traumatic schizophrenic slavery syndrome. And like I said, a lot of black females in America, the reasons they are angry is because of the Caucasian, you know, this not accepting them. They can breed with you. See, one thing about Caucasian men, they don't care. You sort of, because in their minds they are logical. This affects emotional people affected with someone who is a logic and doesn't care. 99% of Caucasian men, they don't care about your emotions. They care about their goals and their orientation, their goals, their real goals and their agenda. They're not interested with how far they breed with you, especially if you're not Caucasian. They've no care whatsoever. You know, because it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter a zebra hanging around with the lions or thinking it's a lion. What matters the most is what a lion is going to do. That's a sort of like thing, you know what I'm saying? And lions, they don't have to have emotions, you know, they don't care. You can play with a lion, but you know, the ultimate decision is going to come from a lion type shit. So like I said, a lot of brothers in America don't understand black females. Have never ever studied a black woman's anger, black women's nasty attitude, why black women act like that. Black women are nasty, black women are this, black women are this. A lot of black men are hitting the wrong. You give a black woman a Caucasian man, she'll shut up. Zip. Any nasty black woman you see in America, just give them Caucasian men. Just give them one Caucasian. If you have got a Caucasian, I've got a lot of Caucasian men friends. I've got a lot of Caucasian men friends. You know what I'm saying? Just say to your Caucasian man, I want you to go date that nasty sister over there. You would see a black woman who goes straight into line. She'll be more polite. She'll be like more docile and more submissive the moment she sees a Caucasian man. Why? Because it's in their history. It's in their history. Throughout history, black females were subjected to the worst exploitation and brutality, not from black men, but from Caucasian men. So in a long run, fast forward to today, 99% of black women are not used to black men dominance. They're not used to black men they're not used to black males. They're just not. A black woman is not used to black men's leadership. They're not used to black men's presence. They're used to Caucasian men's dominance, a Caucasian men's demands. You know what I'm saying? A black woman who complains, a lot of black women complain about, oh, black men don't do this, or black men disrespect us. A black female, 99% of black women who demands things of that nature, they'll accept the worst brutal torture from Caucasian men. And they will live with a smile, smiling like this. And a small thing a black man do, they'll start erupting and acting like beasts or gorillas and stuff. Only towards black men. Why do black women, a lot of black women act nasty towards black men? It's because historically, majority of black American females are not used to leadership of black males. Not only to leadership of black males, they are not used to being with a male, with a black male since slavery for the past 600 years. They are not used to a black man. The only person they are used to historically has always been the Caucasian man's dominance, the Caucasian man. So if a Caucasian man used to do this, guess what? Caucasian men used to demand this to a black woman. You need to wash my clothes. You need to do this, sweep the floor, do this, cook my clothes, wash my clothes, cook dinner, cook this for me. And at this particular time, I want you to please me in bed at the same time. They didn't care. If you don't do like that, this is what they used to do to black slave females. If you don't do, I'll put you on a tree and hang you or burn you alive. So historically, a lot of black females are used to taking all kind of torture from Caucasian men. They're not used to black men because there is no history of a black man being doing any sort of things to black women. But because of lack of any historical thing, black women are not used to things like that coming from black men. The only thing they accept, this is why even today a lot of black females who accept the worst of Caucasian men, and the least of black men, there will be a black woman will be spooked by a very tiny thing a black man do. They are more likely to be angry to you. They are more likely to be nasty towards black men. They are more likely to be beast towards black men. But definitely, just bring a Caucasian man. All of a sudden, they change. They act more docile. Why? Because of the history of Caucasian men dominating them and doing everything they like. Black females will accept Caucasian men unconditionally because they were trained like that. They were bred like that. Only a slave female which was willing, which was accepting the worst of slave masters at the same time, those slave females were allowed to breed, to have children and they breed further. The black females who were rebellious towards the advances of slave masters, most of them were hanged. So fast forward, this is breeding. Only the females which were subjected to slave masters' torture, and those are the ones which were slave masters 99% of the time breed with them. Those females were giving birth to children of slave masters, and only a docile female slave was saved. The black females who were rebellious were not allowed to have children, and they would be killed, hanged, or things of that nature. So they didn't pass that rebellious gene pool. So fast forward to today, you've got a lot of black females whose offspring, most of them come from slave masters. A lot of black people in America, the offspring of slave masters, because slave masters would breed that docile female would be the one to breed with, and she will pass on those docile traits to the offspring, to the children. And fast forward, those children are the ones you see today in America. That's why you see a lot of that's why you see a lot of black females in America do not like black males' leadership. Why? Because historically, the brutal males which they know through their gene and through their history has always been Caucasian men. You see what I'm saying? This is why even today a lot of black women would accept the worst of a Caucasian man. You see, and they will still smile. You see what I'm saying? This is why I always say to black men, do not believe a black woman. The biggest lie and the biggest hypocrisy is most of these black females towards black men. Anything they demand, you look at everything they demand from black men and they say, oh, black men don't do this, black men don't do this. Black females will accept Caucasian men unconditionally. You understand me? They'll accept everything a Caucasian man do. A Caucasian man could hang black females, put them in, fire them with a hose pipe. Back in the day, they used to use a hose pipe, dogs on black females, kicking their faces like this and things of that nature with the dogs, you know what I'm saying? Hanging them, pulling them with the horses and things of that nature. And then at the end of the day, they'll demand the same black females, after torturing them like that, that you need to please me tonight. You need to sexually please me tonight. If you don't, I'm going to hang you. If you don't please me, I'm going to hang you. So a lot of black females were sort of like conditioned to please slave masters, regardless of what place or regardless. They end up becoming conditioned to pleasing Caucasian men, regardless of what they do, unconditional. Because historically, Caucasian men forced that on them. Forced that you better please me, or else I'll put you on the tree and hang you. Now fast forward that to the present day, 2018. The black people you see in America, or the black females you see in America, they come from that pedigree. They come from that lineage in which the mothers used to be pulled with horses and things of that nature, whipped a lot, should be whipped. You need to clean that, you need to clean this, you need to do this, you need to do this for me, you need to go fetch water, you need to go to the slave plantation, and after that at night at 10 o'clock you need to come and please me sexually here. You need to come and please me sexually. This is what slave masters used to do. You need to come and please me, and she needs to do it right. And if she doesn't, she will be told, you see, I've hanged others. Some of you have hanged them. So if you don't, I'll hang you. So a lot of black females were sort of like bred for those tasks. It's now in their genes to accept the West of Caucasian men only, and not from black men, because they have no history of black men. There is no history of a black woman, of seeing anything from black men. That's why even today, anything you talk, black females lie that the black man is doing this. They accept it the West. Like I say, historically, they were bred into like that. It's in their genes to accept it the West of Caucasian men. It's in a black female's genes to accept. They would accept 10 times worse things from Caucasian men. And little thing a black man does, they would fight, rebel, like no, this and that. But then the Caucasian man comes and say, black females, I want you to do this and this, or else I'll chop your head off or throw you on a tree and hang you. So a lot of sisters you see in America, they come from that pedigree. They come from that lineage. And a lot of black men now in America, they don't understand. Black men are not looking at things from a global scale. They're looking from, well, these sisters are feisty. I'm going to a Caucasian woman. No. Caucasian men are well aware that the black females were bred specifically for them by their slave masters. They know what's inside the black woman's gene pool. They know, because why? Historically, look at the history. It's in the genes of black females. They were trained and bred to behave in a specific way. The same thing, a pit bull dog has got genes to bite, constantly bite, and resist pain. Why? History. Just check the pedigree of pit bull dog. The lineage and the history. This is why pit bull dogs have got a bad name. Historically, have got bad name today, because the genes are inside. The genes why pit bull dogs are so a bit feisty and they bite and the things of that. It's in the genes and this biology throughout history. They were breeding certain traits inside a dog. That was happening completely towards black females during slavery in America. They would pick the biggest slave. I want this slave to do this. They would breed a slave female who acts a certain way, and they would bring a slave master would say, well, I'll breed with this slave female. This is what I want. The slave females which were docile, they were the ones which were catapult feather. Those ones which were resisting, they would be hanged them. Now fast forward to today, you have got the best slave breed today. So any Caucasian man today is lucky, because all the black females you see in America, they come from the pedigree of being bred like that. Now the victims is a black man, because historically there were no black slave masters who have ever been subjected any black woman to anything of that sort. There's never. So what are you going to get? You are going to get black men being the victim. Now not only that, but black men are going to be the victims from black women. You're going to be the victim, because the slave master still is top dog. He still owns, he still runs America. He's still in charge of America. He's still in charge of things. So a black woman is still conditioned to please him, regardless. Why? Because the history. You see what I'm saying? A lot of black men are not aware of that. That's why a lot of people, black men in America, complain. A black woman is too nasty towards us. Black woman is too nasty. Like, black women are. Black women are this and this and that. Because a lot of black men are not learning their history. They're not learning why black women are nasty towards them. It's in your history. A lot of black men in America, because a lot of black men don't study things. They don't. I went to America. Went to New York, Boston, Philadelphia, California, Chicago, and Texas. And I've seen a lot of black men. They don't study now. They don't study their history. No, they don't study why things happen in the way it happened. It's in the history. It's in your DNA. 90% of what you do, it's already in your DNA. You know what I'm saying? And black women, black American males, they don't know that. They have no clue of why black females do what they do. But the history, it's inside the history. They were bred specifically to be like that. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know that they were bred to be like that, you are going to be in trouble when you're dealing with a black woman. You're going to be very, very, very much in trouble. Because if you look at a black woman, the same thing when you're buying a dog. You need to see, I want to know the pedigree. I want to know the breed. Why do people want to know the breed? Why not just go to a dog and say, I'm just taking a dog because it's a dog? No, because what that dog is going to do is subject to its DNA pedigree. You understand me? So it's same thing when people were bred like that. A dog which was bred to bite, everybody must be warned that this dog is a pit bull dog. This dog is bred this way. This is what it can do. It's the same thing with black females in America. These people were raised like this. These people were genetically modified to behave this way. These people have got this type of history. So be careful of this and that. So because this is the way they were raised, Caucasian men used to be the ones in charge. They're still in charge today. A black man, they were just given a small slight freedom to say, okay, now you're free to walk around, but the damage has already been done. And in order for black men in America and the black females to move forward, the damage must be resolved. But Caucasian men are said, well, I'm just going to release these slaves. As far as the damage, I'm done. Because Caucasian men are because they're in power. They know they're in power and they're shielded from the worst of the black female. They're shielded. A black man is not shielded. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't know how these females were bred to do. You're going to be affected. You're on your own. This is why a lot of black men now, they're being affected. When they're being affected by those black females, what do black men do? They turn around and they say to slave masters, I want your daughter. Because when slave masters were breeding slaves, they were putting a shield to a black man. You can't go to my daughter. This is what slave masters did. You can't go to my daughter. Stay within your home. They remained like that. So a lot of black men now, they're facing the fury like, I know I have destroyed your woman. Imagine someone comes into your house, okay? Someone comes into your house and brutalizes your wife and put a shield. You can't do something like that to my wife, but I can do anything I like to your wife. And then you say, well, I want to come and retaliate to your wife. Then I put a barrier. You see what I'm saying? Now you go to your wife is brutalized, is damaged, is schizophrenic. Now she doesn't know what to think. And then you're like, well, since you have destroyed my wife, now I better come and I want your wife instead. What do slave masters used to do back in the day? They used to block, put laws. You black man can't do anything. You can't date my daughter. That's what slave masters used to do. You can't date our daughter. You can't date our wives and you can't date our daughter. But they were destroying your slave masters mentally. They were destroying slave masters. Slave masters were destroying slaves, females, mentally. They were destroying them. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they would block any slave, black man, to like, you can't date our daughter. Just stick on what you know your wife is being destroyed, but they put barriers. Just deal with that creature which has been destroyed. You can't come to us. Fast forward today, a lot of black men, they can look at a black woman, then they see, no, these women are damaged mentally here. So what did they do? They want a slave master's daughter now. The slave master's daughter now, they realize that I can deal with it. You see, the only reason black females will only accept a slave master. They only accept Caucasian men. Why? They were the ones in charge of destroying a black woman mentally. They were the ones who trained a black woman. They were the ones who destroyed the black woman mentally. They are the only ones who can heal a black woman, not black men. Black men can't, because black men are not responsible in the United States. No black man is responsible for a black woman. No, except Caucasian men. Because it's in the history of who destroyed who. You can't blame a black American man for something they have no idea. A black man cannot cure a black woman today. They can't. They cannot cure 100%. They can't. You understand? A lot, and that is, I see a lot of people saying, oh, black men should stay in the black neighborhoods and take care of this and that. 99% of black men themselves, they come from the same females which were destroyed back in slavery, and after that, and they don't even have a clue of what they're dealing with. They cannot cure a black woman. The only person who can cure a black woman, who can render that black slaves docile, and who can tame, the only person who can tame a black females, the only person who can tame a black females is a Caucasian man. Why? Historically, they are the ones who destroyed the black woman. It makes sense for the Caucasian men to be the ones who should deal with the black woman. It makes sense because historically, he is the one who destroyed the black woman. He's the one who told the black woman, "You are a gorilla, you are a monkey, you are this and this, you are this and this," and at the same time they breed with the same female who he was tormenting. So psychologically they damaged a black woman. That the only. If a black man says to a black woman, "Oh, a black woman is beautiful, she's this and this and that and that," that is not going to go inside the black woman, because you are not the one who destroyed the black woman. Black women, like in the continent in Africa, black men love black women in Africa. They always do. They never do. So a black woman is not going to take a black man serious. Why? Because historically, black men never destroy a black woman. A black woman was destroyed by the Caucasian. So it only makes sense if the Caucasian are the only ones who should go to black females and say, "Oh, black woman, I love you." They are the only ones who can heal mentally, because mentally a lot of black females were destroyed in slavery. You see what I'm saying? You can say anything you want as a black man, you're not going to heal a black woman. Only person who can heal a black woman naturally, the only person who can heal a black woman, Caucasian men, not black men. No. A Caucasian men have got the science. They're the ones who genetically modify this type of shit. They're the ones who made these black female self-hate who they are. They're the ones who make a black people self-hate. They're the ones who make black women self-hate themselves. You see the black women queuing on hair salons, buying weaves. There's nothing to do with black men. There's nothing to do with us. What will happen? Guess what? What will happen if slave masters didn't allow black men to date Caucasian female? Because this is very recent. It's pretty much 4 or 5 decades ago. For any black man to date a Caucasian woman, it's pretty much 4 or 5 decades, if I'm not mistaken. And in some countries, it's just a decade. You know what I'm saying? So the only people who were breeding a lot interracially were mostly Caucasian men and black females. Black men, it's only through allowance. You couldn't date a Caucasian. Even today, in many parts of the world, there's still barriers for black males dating anyone who's not black. There is no barrier for dating a black woman for Caucasian. Zero. There is no barrier. Barriers have been put for black males only. There's no barrier for Caucasian men on a black woman and the Caucasian. There's no barrier whatsoever. There is none. So, like I said, a lot of black men in America, they have no idea. I've seen a lot of black females in the United States blaming a black man and black men this, black men that. They're lying. They're not telling you the truth. The real reason black females are angry, they're angry with Caucasian men's lack of advancing to them in the way black females think. You saw what I'm saying? Black females I've seen a lot of videos of black women blaming, saying, how come a lot of black men are going towards a Caucasian female? Black men going towards Caucasian female, they only go to a Caucasian female only if a Caucasian female allows it, and not only her, but a Caucasian man allows it. This is only through allowances. There is no allowances to a black females and Caucasian men. So that's what a lot of Caucasian females who deal with black men face a lot of barriers and attacks within their own family. There is no Caucasian man attacked by nobody with a black woman. Nobody. There is pretty much no barrier. You see what I'm saying? So the reason why Caucasian men are not going towards black female is that they cannot come to black females in large numbers, specifically because there is no reason for leaving beautiful looking Caucasian women. There's no reason, because Caucasian men have got it all, from not only Caucasian women, but from all types of females. You see what I'm saying? So people don't just go to black people just to fill a vacuum. You know, there must be a reason. If I've got 500 beautiful women, you know, I'm not just gonna leave them and say I want to date a monster. You know, when I've got access to something like that, it's just that's the way they think. That has nothing to do. It's just the way they think. There's no problem with Caucasian females, because the Caucasian females are the most submissive women on earth. Leaving them is like someone saying, I don't want diamond, I want silver. I don't want diamond anymore, I want silver. Yo, there's a difference between diamonds and silver. You know, silver, diamonds are worth more than silver. You know what I'm saying? A Caucasian man is not just going to live submissive, beautiful, submissive Caucasian women and just go for a black woman simply because there is a space there, there are too many niggas locked in prison. Let me just fill a vacuum. They don't think like that. People don't just come to engage in certain things to fill vacuums, when in reality their societies have no problem. And they're still in charge. And they're still super wealthy. Caucasians are still super wealthy. They have no reasons to, they don't have any other reason to leave each other. You see what I'm saying? But at the same thing, most Caucasian females, they go to black men. I've seen a lot of Caucasian women in America and some in Canada and Europe. They come towards black men, sometimes in Africa. They're rich in Europe and America, but they would go and date an African man in Nigeria or Ghana. Most of them, they go for pretty much fetish reasons. It's just a desire to just feel black men. They don't come to black men out of need. For them, it's just a fetish and an experience. That's what they come to black men. 99% of Caucasian women who deals with the black men is it's a fetish desire, how it feels. They just want they just want that experience of dealing with black men. That's all. They don't come to black because they know Caucasian men are the ones in power. They're the ones who are powerful. They're the ones with money, resources. They're the ones who run the world. So for them, there is no reason to go to black men. There's absolutely no reason, but they do come to black men. So in reality, I know that it's a bit special. A lot of Caucasian females, they've got that unique, special, thing about them, because of that nature, that they leave Caucasian men in rich countries and then they go to a black man with nothing. That's rare. That never happened on black females. You know what I'm saying? But they do, for some reason they do. So they're a bit, special in a different way. That's one thing a lot of black men accept and love about the Caucasian women. Specifically, it's that special, unique, that only females who can do that. Globally, there ain't no rest of people who can do that, who can leave a rich person for a poor person. They're only Caucasian. So they've got this special uniqueness, which to me as a black man, I give them respect for that. That's one thing I like about them too. But I don't promote swelling. I just promote certain uniqueness. I don't promote swelling. I'm not into that at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm not into that. But like I said, a lot of black men, they have no idea what they're dealing with when they're dealing with black females. Black females will be nasty towards black men, but they will never be towards Caucasian men. And I've just laid the reasons. For that a lot of brothers know what they're dealing with. Because a lot of black men in America, you just don't know what you're dealing with. A lot of you brothers in America, you have no clue of what you're dealing with. You don't know the pedigree of black females. You just think simply because someone is got a booty and the African features is black. Check the lineage and the pedigree, so you know exactly you're dealing with how far dangerous creature you're dealing with and why they act the way that. I study I don't look at people. I study the pedigree of people, which lineage, because everything you do and how you act is going to be in your history. The way you act and your behavior is going to be. This is why, look, if you go to Africa, there is no difference between Caucasian women in South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, America, Canada, Ukraine, Russia, Europe, wherever. All Caucasian females behave the same. If we put them together, you can't tell them apart. But guess what? Black females in America and black women in Africa, or black women in Brazil, you can see the difference quick. The moment you put black females in America and the ones in Africa, or any black women outside America and black American female, the behavior, it's easy to tell. You can tell something is wrong with those females. It's easy to see it because of the history. It's easy to see black women in America. It's easy to see no, something is wrong with those females. But guess what? You look at a Caucasian woman born in South Africa or in Namibia or in Australia, in America, you put them in one room, they both behave the same, completely neutral. See how special they are, neutral like that. The same way a Caucasian woman in America is going to treat you, you're going to receive the same treatment with a Caucasian female in Australia or in South Africa or in Russia. They give you the same treatment, completely neutral. You see how special they are, completely neutral. You're not going to see that on a black female. On a black female, you're going to see nightmare. Dealing with black females, nightmare. And if you don't check, a lot of black men in America, they see the fury, but they don't investigate where it's come from. That's why a lot of black men, if they see a nasty black woman, they run away. I'm running away to a white lady. They see a black man, because a lot of you black men have no clue of what you're dealing with when you're dealing with black women. I've seen it in America. Black women, there was another kind of a racist guy, Caucasian guy. He went into a church where there were black people there, and shot 7 people, killed them. Shot 7 people and killed them. He came out. I was watching black females. In the media talking. 99% of black females were like, "Oh, we forgive him. We forgive him. Yeah, we forgive him." And I was thinking, oh my God, this person has just shot 7 people. And black women came out smiling, "Oh, we forgive him." And I was thinking, a black woman doesn't behave like that when black men do things like that. When black men shoot one another or in the street, black women don't even forgive each other. A black woman versus another black woman, they're so nasty and extremely brutal to each other. But guess what? When a Caucasian guy does it, all of a sudden, he's given unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, unconditional. And this is why I said, a lot of you black American males, you have no idea what you're dealing with when you're dealing with the black females. You know nothing whatsoever. Because I studied black women, and I'm telling you, you're dealing with one of the most dangerous creatures, and you don't know why. Because I know why. Because I've studied the pedigree, where that came from. And why do black females accept every West stuff from Caucasian men, and they don't, and they're more nasty towards black males? This is why, even at the same time, Caucasian men are well aware the way they bred the black women. They're well aware the way they bred the black, because of the history. They know how black women have been bred in America. But the reason also why they don't like to see a lot of you brothers in America dating white women is because they know a Caucasian women were never bred. There was just a law, a barrier. You can't date them. You can't do this. If you do this, we're going to hang you. This is what they did in the past. So they know that Caucasian females were never, ever mentally bred. Laws were put physically. Caucasian women were never tempered at all. They were never tempered in their biology. This is why you can go in any country where there is Caucasian females, and they're more likely to be nice to you. They're more likely to be nice. Why? Because Caucasian men were using barriers. They just put in laws. Like, you can't date him. But for black people, they're not using laws. They were using physical brutality, physical gene modification stuff. So as a result, now what do you have now? This is why you see every time they're always angry at the black man dating a Caucasian female. Why? Because they know they've never ever conditioned a Caucasian female biologically not to be with any black men. Physically, they never do that. They would use laws or threaten niggas. So you can't date her. You can't do this. You can't do that. If we see you dating her, we hang you. This is what they used to do. They used to use laws. You see what I'm saying? But for black females, there was no law. They would come physically to really destroy and change you. A lot of black females were like that. They were physically changed, biologically changed. Brutally, not only through the brutally, just like taming a cow. A wild animal you see in the cage, like a lion, you see him docile, you know something happened. Because in the wild, they're not like that. You have to be physical in order to make a lion docile. You must be brutally physical. Because naturally, they're not like that in the wild. You understand me? Early slaves, when they came to Africa, slaves were rebellious. All slaves were rebellious. So they needed to tame for the slaves to be more docile and loyal and profitable for slave masters. And that went on and on for black females. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of brothers in America, they have no idea what they're dealing with. They have no clue. A lot of things you see black women complaining, I never ever buy what black women say. It's in their behavior. A black woman will complain that, oh, black women are not doing A, B, and C. She'll accept everything unconditionally if we bring a Caucasian man. You see the difference? That means the complaining they're doing to you, it's a fuss, it's a joke. So don't buy into that. I've seen a lot of black men buying into that. You have no idea what you're dealing with. If you're dealing with black men, a lot of you black men in America, you know what, you don't know anything at all. You don't know anything. You think you know, but you don't. You think you know, but you don't. I've done my research, straight out. I've done my research, and I know exactly what you're dealing with. And to be honest with you, I can tell you, you have no idea what you're dealing with when you're dealing with this black female. You know nothing. The only person who has got the entire tools to deal with the black females, physically, psychologically, manually, whatever you want to call it, is the Caucasian man. He's the only person who can heal a black females, because they're the only people who destroyed a black woman. Mentally, psychologically, physically, he's the only man with the capabilities of dealing with the black females, not black men whatsoever. No, not a black man. Ain't no black man in America, an average Joe, can deal with that. No. You don't have the capabilities for that. You don't. Don't ever think, oh, I think if I do this, I can really tame a black man. No. You're playing with fire. Don't. You don't have the tools. You don't have the tools. You can't deal with something you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Don't. And I can tell you straight out, don't. Straight out, I can tell you don't. Because I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know exactly. I've done my research already. Straight out, I've done my research. You know what I'm saying? I've done my research, and I can tell you, don't ever think you can try. Because majority of you don't have the tools. Don't have the tools, don't have the resources, and you are not the ones who made them like that. Anytime you try to lead a black woman, and you're a black man, you try to lead a black woman will fight with you. They would fight with you. They'll pretty much destroy you. If you're a black man, they'll destroy you. And a lot of black men will be like, I tried to help a black woman like that, but they're fighting against me. Because you have no idea why. And I'm telling you that they were never ever engineered to accept you like that. They never seen you like that. Just like a dog will bite any stranger, but they will never bite their owner who made them like that. The owner will come, a breeder will say, well, this dog doesn't bite. Have you ever noticed people saying, well, a dog which is so dangerous, they'll come and say, well, this dog is so easy. Easy, he doesn't do anything. This dog, look at him. I can pet this dog, blah, blah, blah. But the moment the owner is not around, that dog will be the most dangerous, so vicious. That's exactly what black men are getting in America from black females. And they don't know why. And then the owner, who's mostly these Caucasian guys, they come and say, well, doesn't do anything. This dog doesn't bite anybody. You see? But when the owner is not around, that dog bites strangers. That's exactly what a lot of brothers in America, that is a lot of black men are getting. Then they get surprised, like, yeah, why is it black females act like this to us? But they never like that Caucasian man. They never like that Caucasian man. Because a lot of you black men have no idea of what you're dealing with. Historically, you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know. Caucasian men know. They know already, because it's in their history. They know, this is how they behave, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. You try to reason with a lot of black females, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time, because the reasoning with the Caucasian men during slavery, they never reasoned. They would force you, do this, they would say this to a slave. I want you to do A, B, and C. Go fetch water over there, go fetch this, clean this shop, clean this dirty here, do this and that. And sometimes they'll come and whip a slave for being too late. Whip a slave, whip a slave, whip a slave. And on top of that, if a slave female cries, then they say, oh, okay, you're crying, come and please me here. Come and please me sexually. Come and please me. And the slave would have to please the slave master, even crying. She would tell, shut up, if I see any tear from you, I'll hang you or chop your head off. Imagine repeating like that for 400 years. Repeating the type of treatment. Until the slave female starts smiling, doing everything a slave master wants unconditionally. Whether she likes it or not, she has to please the slave master. Whether she likes it or not. Whether she had to know that the slave master is going to be happy. She had to please the slave master, whether she likes it or not. That is what were black females back in the day. They had to please the slave master, whether they like it or not. All black females, they had to please the slave master, whether they like it or not. You know what I'm saying? They were trained like that, historically. So, fast forward to today, that's the pedigree of the type of black females you have today in America. Fast forward that. to 2018. That's the type of females you're dealing with in America. And a lot of black men have no idea, because you were part of the plantations and you have no clue of what you're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with, man. So, like I said, any comment you have or any topic you brothers have, subscribe to me and, strike a note button, and we'll discuss with that. And I'm just telling, this is what I'm saying. I'm here, it's what it is. You get it raw, what it is. It's what it is. It's live, untinted, and subscribes, and whatever topic you want to talk, black related, we can discuss that. Anything black related, we can discuss this. Put a note in the topic and subscribe. Leave a comment. Okay, see you next video. Cheers, goodbye.